Hey, what's happening, guys? What's going on YouTube? You guys have tuned into Rules for Rebels. Figure you guys can join me for my morning coffee and thought we would cover an interesting article today. The Supreme Court has ruled that a school can't punish students for activities that they do outside of school with some limitations. I thought this was interesting just because it kind of revolves around the tech space and social media. Before we get into the article, kind of long story short here, I believe a girl didn't make the varsity cheerleading squad, so she posted a Snapchat that said, fuck school, fuck cheerleading, fuck everything. The school wound up trying to suspend her for this, went through some lower courts, ultimately wound up in the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court stated that, kids also have freedom of speech, and as long as this took place outside of school and wasn't bullying or harassment and didn't specifically target a student or staff member, that students still have a right to free speech. Curious to hear what you guys think about this issue. I think this was the right decision. It does kind of highlight how things are getting murky in the social media world. Obviously, bullying has always been a problem, but one of the things about social media, and social media is really horrible for everybody, right? Like the rates of depression in kids has gone up, suicide rates in kids has gone up. In days of the past, even if you got bullied at school, when you went home, the bullying stopped. But now, with social media, bullying and harassment can continue 24 hours a day. So I do see how this is kind of a slippery slope. But again, I do think this was kind of the right decision. And it appears that the Supreme Court has also said that, if it does fall into the area of bullying and harassment, schools do have the power to do something. This whole kind of discussion and argument has gotten even cloudier with the whole remote learning thing, where we don't really have this clear distinction between on campus and off campus. Just kind of a funny story. I remember when I was in, it does seem like things outside of school and off campus are starting to fall more under control of schools. Just kind of a funny story. I remember when I was in high school and we used to bring weed to school and things like that. Rather than parking in the on campus or student lots, we would park across the street in a neighborhood, and then the school or the school resource officer couldn't search your car. So, back then there was a very clear distinction between on campus and off campus. Although over the years that's kind of been blurred. This article comes to us from The Verge. Supreme Court says a school can't punish a cheerleader for swearing on Snapchat. Students will have First Amendment rights on social media. The Supreme Court says a Pennsylvania school can't punish a cheerleader for swearing on Snapchat. The 8-1 ruling determined the students' rights to free expression outweighed the school's interests in preventing potentially disruptive speech. In this case, a Snapchat captioned, fuck school, fuck softball, fuck cheerleading, fuck everything. Justice Stephen Breyer delivered the majority opinion this morning, upholding an appeal court's decision from the Third Circuit. He said that the student, Brandy Levy, identified as BL in court documents, shouldn't have been suspended from her cheerleading team for a vulgar post about school sports. While public schools may have a special interest in regulating some off campus student speech, the special interests offered by the schools are not sufficient to overcome BL's interest in free expression in the case, he wrote. Levy had unsuccessfully tried out for varsity cheerleading, as well as a position on a private softball team, and vented about the results on Snapchat, including a follow-up snap that said, "Love how me and another student get told we need a year of junior varsity before we make varsity, but that doesn't matter to anyone else." Another student complained about the snap, and the school issued a 1-year suspension because she used profanity in connection with a school extracurricular activity on social media. Breyer's ruling notes that Levy posted her message outside of school hours and away from the school's campus, so it sounds like this decision could have been different had she done this during school hours or on campus. Profanity notwithstanding, the message criticized the decision the school had made. BL uttered the kind of pure speech to which, were she an adult, the First Amendment would have provided strong protection, it says. And while the school cracked down on Levy for posting vulgar language on social media, there was no evidence that it punished students for generally swearing outside of the classroom. Thanks to a case called Tinker versus Des Moines Independent Community School District, schools can penalize on campus speech that would materially and substantially disrupt the work and discipline of its students, even if it's protected by the First Amendment. But the standard for speech in other settings has been historically fuzzier, especially on social media, where posts can be viewed anywhere and at any time. Breyer said the appeals court had ruled too broadly to limit Tinker, and he affirmed that schools can punish students for some off campus speech, citing things like bullying and harassment as disruptive speech. His ruling also says the rise of distance learning, fueled by the coronavirus pandemic, has particularly complicated the issue, and the way Levy used social media mattered. Her snap was sent to a private circle of friends and fellow students, and she didn't identify the school or target any specific students. Even so, the ruling emphatically supports students who make offensive but not threatening or concretely harmful statements online. Justice Clarence Thomas was the sole dissenting vote on the case. I'm kind of surprised. Thomas, who has argued for legally stopping social media platforms from banning their users, wrote that schools may have more authority, not less, to discipline students who transmit speech through social media. His dissenting opinion states that because off-campus speech made through social media can be received on campus and can spread rapidly to countless people, it often will have a greater proximate tendency to harm the school environment than will an off-campus in-person conversation. So that's the end of the article. What do you guys think about this? Should the school have the power to punish students for things they do on social media outside of the classroom, or do students have a right to free speech like everybody else? Would love to hear your opinion. Drop a comment in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.